El Camino People, the podcast, episode 9. Ultraya, fellow pilgrims, and welcome to El Camino People, the podcast. I am José María Hernández, pilgrim, entrepreneur, Pamplonica, and Camino lover. From today on, we will share Camino news and stories from pilgrims all over the world. Pilgrims like just like you, because Camino stories need to be told. Wanna walk with us? Welcome to El Camino People, the podcast. Today, Julia Robertson from Brave Story, the podcast. She is also known as Julia Robertson Live a Good Story on YouTube. She's a blogger, she's a podcaster, she's also on Instagram, and she's quite a character. She's been traveling all over the world, and she's been doing a lot of, the volunteering with an association called World Race. She has a beautiful series of videos of her work all over South America, and a beautiful collection of videos also of the Camino de Santiago. So, if you like the blogs, you like YouTube, and this is your lady to go, so feel free to go check her blog. And today we will be talking about, what the Camino was for her and why she decided to do the Camino, and how the Camino can change your life when you need it most. But most important, when the Camino, always comes at the time that you need. You don't choose to walk the Camino calls you for you to walk him. So be ready to listen. Welcome for the call, to Camino People, and now be podcast. Ready today, to listen to I have Julia. A person that I met. I think it was last year. It's already last year when we met, or was this year?
Yes.
Last year.
In the fall of 2019.
In the fall of 2019. Oh my God, time flies. And it seems like it was yesterday. I don't know. Why all my memories for the Camino seem so vivid and so close in time that sometimes that people that I haven't seen for 2 years, it seems like it was yesterday, even though we have such a small time together. Let me guys introduce you to Julia Robertson. She's from the US, and we met when she was doing the Camino de Santiago, and and as always I invite people when you pass through Pamplona to send me a message and I will give you a tour. We weren't able to do that little tour, but we were able to chit chat a little bit in the morning. Welcome, Julia. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, thank you. Thanks
How
for
are you
inviting
doing?
Me. I'm doing well. I'm quarantined. It's our 6th week of working from home. So I'm getting a little bored. So I'm excited to talk to someone who lives in a different country and pretend. I've been virtually traveling in my house. 2 nights ago, I pretended that I went to Italy. I made an Aperol spritz and made some pasta and played Italian music.
Where did you go? Where in Italy?
Oh, Cinque Terre for sure.
Oh my God, Cinque Terre, ma como. That's amazing, and also super cheap. I'm right now is the perfect time for traveling.
And then the other day, I pretended I went to Germany and I made bratwurst and
that's
pretzels.
Nice. That's a theme night. That's something that maybe we can come out. I was thinking of inviting people to do like a pilgrim's night. Something we can go cheap pasta with a lot of cheese and just sausage and just drink a cheap beer all around it, and and complain about our blisters and our daily Camino.
Yeah, over Zoom.
Yeah, over Zoom. Yeah, get a bunch of pilgrims and doing. I'm right now doing all these lives. Next week we're gonna start doing round tables with pilgrims to discuss the future of the Camino. Just to invite people also more on Facebook to chat. But I think it will be fun. Just I've been doing this just beer with my friends, but it will be so nice to do a pilgrim's night. We can call it.
Yeah, that would be so cute.
And find all our pilgrims friends and get together and just have a chat.
That would be fun. I really love your podcast. I wish I had listened to it before I went on the Camino because it was everything I wanted to know.
I don't even think that it was before you go into the Camino. I think I was starting when because at the time, I was just building the website. I was building the whole thing, but right now it was now it has gone crazy. I already have recorded all my interviews till September. This one will be released in September.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I didn't know, how, I was finishing my MBA, so I didn't know what was going to happen in the summer, if I was going to have in time. My idea was to go to Vietnam, but also travel to Japan, to the Kumanokoro. So I want to have, all the material. But right now, I was thinking on changing also and now we are doing one in Spanish, one in English. I was thinking on doing one every week in Spanish and English, but I'm let's keep it just in case, I don't have the time. We don't know what is going to happen. Things in Spain been changing so fast that...
Yeah.
We don't have a clue what will be happening next week, if I will have, a job next week, if I will be doing whatever. So, but I love podcasting because it's it's like reviving the whole Camino again, and I think it's just to chat with
Yeah.
pilgrims like you again. And also, I see you at the beginning, and now I can talk about your whole Camino. How was the Camino?
hmm Well, I didn't know this was coming out in September because right now, as we're recording, it's April. So I hope when this comes out that we're allowed to leave our
Let's
houses
see.
and then we both have jobs.
It will be, oh, holy moly.
That's a long time from now.
Yeah, September. But we will see. Hopefully, I will have so much, we will invite the pilgrims all over the world to join us. So hopefully I have so much material that I can start release once a week. Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's push it for it. Maybe. We'll decide. I will let you choose once we are going with this. But anyway, so you decided to work the Camino in 2019, 2018. When was the time?
2019.
So, but what was the time?
Oh.
That was the time that you walked the Camino. How was the time? Like, as we always said with the pilgrims, there's always that, that Camino knowledge that brought you back to the Camino. And I know usually in the US people met the Camino with the movie The Way. In Germany there's a famous book. Koreans have another book too.
Mm-hmm.
But also sometimes people have different ways of encountering the Camino. Maybe sometimes it's in the school, sometimes maybe in church, maybe sometimes it's a friend that have walked it before. I don't know, how was your get to know with the Camino?
So I work at a Christian international missions organization. We send people all over the world, and I've done a lot of missionary work myself. And so a lot of people that I work with have done the Camino, and that's how I first heard about it. And we'll actually send some of our teams as a part of their journey. We'll go and walk the Camino, usually toward the end, so they have time and space to kind of process the experience that they've had all year. And then also they can talk to people along the way if they want to about their faith.
What was their feedback? Like when you were talking with them without knowing, how was because once we talk to once we walk the Camino, it's totally different. You are like, I know what these guys are talking about. But a lot of times, trying to explain the Camino to someone that hasn't walked it yet, it's so hard. I'm like, there's something, I don't know. It's like faith, if you don't feel it, there's no way that you can understand it. But how was your view right now, looking back at where you were the one that hasn't walked it?
It was about what people described, because the people I work with, we've pretty much all traveled the world and done mission work and lived minimally. So we all have that in common. And so most people told me that it's a really beautiful experience, that you have all the space and time to connect with God, and you can easily build relationships with other people, and that it's really freeing and simple. And I found that's what it was. One thing, it was really physically challenging. Which most people were like, it's fine, it's not that hard. And I don't think I'm very athletic, so I was fully expecting it to be hard, but I had a lot of physical challenges. So that was the only thing that was a little different than what people described it as.
Yeah, it's funny because
I heard about it.
A lot of people, they say that it's quite an easy way, but I think that's what I always say, is the Camino is totally different for anyone, and sometimes it is hard, sometimes it is easy.
Yeah, my legs are actually different lengths. Which made it challenging for me. My right leg is a little bit longer, like almost an inch longer than my left. So after a week, my knee started to hurt, and then I had tendonitis, and it was really touch and go for a while. And there were a couple days where I full on had blowouts and couldn't walk, but just somehow made it. I limped all the way to Santiago.
So I guess you hear a lot, when you work in this kind of, community, probably you will hear, every time someone was coming back from the Camino, you will be hearing for the Camino for a month or 2 months. Why make you finally, take that decision and say, I've been hearing about this for so long, now is my time to do it?
Yeah. So I had been hearing about it for years, but never really envisioned myself doing it, never felt called, which was weird because Spain is one of my favorite countries. I've been there a couple times before the Camino, and I'm a huge traveler, even more so than my coworkers, I would say. But at the beginning of 2019, I experienced a very, very large heartbreak. The person that I had been with for over a year, we had planned to get married, just unexpectedly broke up with me. And that just completely crushed me, not only because I wanted to marry him, but because all of my expectations and plans for what my life was going to look like the next year and then onward shifted. When you think 2019's the year I'm getting married, and it's not.
Yeah, everything planned, and suddenly, I know, I met, I don't know what's going on in the world, but I guess maybe, it's the surrounding, but I met more people in your situation, and And I guess, that's one of the things that we see in the Camino. There's a great, podcast that we talk with a fellow pilgrim. He's a doctor, and he did a research on the motivations of people to do the Camino. And, that's kind of like one of the big ones, life-changing.
Heartbreak.
Heartbreak in any way, it can be job, it can be your couple, it can be your partner, it can be whatever. But I guess I don't know why, the Camino has that power of people thinking about, once break time, let's go over there, think about it.
Yeah. So it was interesting because I remember on New Year's Eve, I was so excited for the new year, thinking this is the year I will marry this man. And then literally one day later, it's like clock struck midnight on the year.
Really?
And
on New Year's Day was when he broke up?
Like the first or the second day of the year, he expressed interest in breaking up. And then within 10 days, we were broken up. And so I was really sad for the first quarter of the year and had to figure out like how to find purpose again and how to be happy again and what to do next. Because I didn't even know what to do. Like, what do I do now? Because I thought that's what I was going to be doing. And part of the reason we broke up is because we had a lot of differences and opinions about life and theology and politics and the way we see the world and what we want out of life, which are great reasons to break up.
And I feel like to be together. No, I guess, who cares? I'm like, I don't know.
We didn't agree on a lot of important things. And I felt like when we broke up, I was able to really find my voice in a lot of those areas more because I didn't have someone in my life that didn't appreciate them. And so I was able to become more of a passionate person, more of an outspoken person, more confident in myself. And so I feel like
empowers you.
Yeah. And so I felt like I really was becoming more of myself. And then I remember around May, I still wasn't fully happy. And someone finally looked at me and I was just talking about my current circumstances. And one of my friends said, "Hey, are you happy?" And I said, "No, thanks for asking. No one's asked me that. And I'm not."
That's one of the things, that I think is so important that nowadays, we are so used to, nobody asks you ever, are you happy? It's such but also I don't think, probably most of us will never say, no, I'm not. And I will be like, yes, I'm super happy.
Yeah, it was, most people wouldn't, but I was actually like dying for someone to ask. And when my friends asked me if I was, and I said no, it was actually such an empowering moment for me to be like, okay, now that I've admitted that, what can I do about it? And actually the first thing I did, which was not go on the Camino, was I joined a musical, a local musical. And that's really what pulled me out of the depression and like helped me find myself again. And I had constant rehearsals, and I grew up as a dancer. I'm not really a singer, but I grew up as a dancer.
For the ones that don't know, I know because I've been following your Instagram, and it's amazing because you can see how happy you are when you are there. And like it's one of those things, you can tell that people was born for that, or at least it doesn't matter how good you are, it just matters how good it makes you feel. And for you, when I see all your clips and everything on Instagram, it really you can tell that you're happy doing that. So great for you.
Well, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, so I joined the musical Oklahoma, and that was all summer long. It was like a 4-month thing.
Wow.
And that made me feel so empowered. I feel like that was a really big gift from God to just help me find myself again and feel empowered. And it was kind of that high that I was riding that sort of led me to the Camino. I had a friend that I worked with. We had some layoffs from our job in May, and one of my friends, Bella, who I worked with, got laid off right as she was on her way to Spain. She was going to Spain for like 2 weeks. She was going to walk the Camino for like 3 days as a part of her trip. And she got laid off like as she was going to the airport. And so she, actually they offered her a different position. So she had a choice to make. Do I want to take this other position or stay laid off? And she walked 3 days on the Camino and fell in love with some friends, and then decided, you know what, I'm not taking the job. She didn't take it. And she went back and ended up walking the entire Camino with those same people.
Wow.
And then she came back into the office to say hi. And I didn't know she was going to come in. And I was actually sitting at my desk thinking about her and thinking, I wonder if I should walk the Camino. I was heading toward the end of my musical. And I thought, maybe I should do that. And she just busts through the door. I did not know she was even in America. And she was so tan and happy and glowing. And everyone stopped working and just sat in a circle and listened to her talk. And she was like telling us all about her experience. You should have her on this podcast because she
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, send me the info. We'll get her. I'm like, well, I love it just to, and that's the beauty, you know.
Yeah.
It's it's one of those things that for pilgrims, you know, for me right now, I'm being in a lockdown for how long, it really keeps me going. You know, what's the things I've realized, you know, when doing this podcast, we know people saying, oh, you ask, you know, you help a lot of people. I'm like, yeah, but I do help myself. You know, keeps you motivated, keeps you through every day. I'm like, you know, talking about all these great, because at the end, all the Camino stories are amazing, and they're all about beauty, and you know, there's always happy endings in almost all of them. So anyway, so she arrived to your office. You were everybody around, like listening to what she was going to say.
Yeah, we were hanging on every word. We were all just so excited. She had also sort of fallen in love on the Camino, and we were interested.
That usually happens in the summer, yeah.
Yeah, in the summer.
Or in the fall, or any time, but summer is big for love in the Camino, I guess.
Oh, that's sweet. So then she came over to my desk and had a private conversation with me, and we talked more one-on-one about her experience. And I said, you know, can you come over to my house? I'm thinking about doing this. I actually was sitting at my desk thinking about it, like researching it when you walked through the door. So she came over and we made dinner. We made like shrimp linguine. And I remember telling her, you know, I'm thinking about, I just feel so empowered to move on and like do big things and try something new. And I feel like I've been so empowered and I've found this contentment in myself, and I want to keep doing it. And I feel like the Camino might be the next thing for me to find like that final stage of healing. And I also think I might want to quit my job. Like, I'm so serious about this that I'd be willing, because in America, we don't get a lot of time off.
Yeah.
The max is like 2-3 weeks a year. This year I have 3 weeks vacation, which is the most I've ever had. Normally I've just had 2 weeks. So it isn't something you can really do unless you have a special circumstance. So her and I decided that day that I would quit my job. I would go on the Camino. And I figured I would maybe go in September, October. At the time it was August or July. It was July. So I wasn't even done with my show yet. And I wasn't planning on telling anyone at work that I was going to quit until it got a lot closer, because I didn't want to end up getting fired if they know you're trying to quit. Might try and replace you or something.
No green sleeves.
Yeah, but then my boss called me into her office and said that they actually wanted to offer me the opportunity to do a filming project. And they specifically, I was really the only person that could do it. And that's when I finally said, well, actually, I was planning on quitting. And so I can't do that project because I'm quitting. And I'm walking the Camino. I like said it like it was happening. And my boss actually said, well, okay. I didn't know you wanted to do that, but maybe we could work something out so you could do the Camino and then come back and not quit. and I was like, well, I don't know. I think I'm quitting. And then some things happened at work. I ended up getting a new boss, and sort of they came to me. But actually, after that, I skipped a part. After that conversation, I felt so confident about it. I just bought the ticket.
Oh, yeah, I'm like,
and just thought, it's happening. I'm going. And so I started, you know, figuring out what backpack I wanted and what shoes I wanted, and was planning my trip, even though I didn't really know what was going to happen with my job. And then a little bit closer to the trip, like maybe a month out, I had a new boss, and he sat me down and he was like, okay, we would officially like to offer you the opportunity. Here's the thing is you don't quit. You can go on the Camino. You can use vacation time if you want, or you can get unpaid, and then you can come back and then you can work here again and do this video project. And I thought about it for a day, and I came back and I said, great, that would be great. Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm like, yeah, sometimes things, you know, get together.
Yeah, it was exciting because I was willing to quit, and I said it like I was serious. And then I ended up getting to have everything. Like I get to go on the trip for, it was actually like 7 or 8 weeks I was gone from work. And to still have a job is a very unique situation for Americans. So I was really, really grateful to get to do that.
And also for
then I brought along
such an incredible project. I'm not going, you know, it's not like you're going to be working. You're going to be doing like kind of like a film or something, you know. I guess that was probably also a big part, no? Doing something new, more different than what you were doing.
Yeah, the film project was a dream come true. And I also still work in the office, and I do a lot of writing because I
Mhm.
work in marketing for the ministry. And so the film project was only about 3 weeks. But when I was in the office, I still do all kinds of writing. But yeah, and then I brought my friend Kayla with me, or didn't bring her with me, but I convinced her to go with me because we had already been planning. So I know Kayla because she did missionary work with me for a year through the same organization that I work with. That's how we met. We were on a team together, and she was the team leader.
So
So
you
I had
went
already traveled.
from getting married in that year to getting, your boyfriend bye to suddenly up and down music festivals, blah blah blah. I'm like, they should make a glee about your year. I'm like, right now 2020 is going crazy, but I'm like 2019 for you was kind of like cool. I'm like,
It's
you can probably
crazy.
make a musical out of that.
A musical. Maybe. Yeah, so her and I met when we did missionary work. The program's called the World Race. So that's where I work.
Uh-huh.
Or it's called, I work for Adventures in Missions. And then the program is called the World Race. It's an 11-month mission trip to 11 countries. And
Wow.
we did that in 2015. And then I came on staff after, and I worked for the marketing department. And she doesn't work at Adventures in Missions, but we've traveled the world together already. And we've also seen each other a bunch in the past 3-4 years. We've been on a road trip to California. We've been to Cape Cod, Chicago. Like, I've seen her a ton, and I know that I travel great with her. And we already had plans to do something together. So I think I would have loved to do the Camino alone. I think people should do it alone. I'm very independent, but I already had plans to do something big with her that year. And so I was committed to her. And so I just said, hey, what if we change the plans? I just really think, like, I really feel called by the Holy Spirit to do the Camino. Like, it's just stirring inside of me, and I feel like really empowered to do this. And I think this is what we should do. So she was like, okay.
That's one of the questions. I always say that the Camino is it gives you different things depending on how you do it, when you do it, and how, like, everything. I think the Camino by yourself is incredible. The Camino with a friend, the Camino with your partner, the Camino with with your kids, with your family is different. So for you, what made you decided, instead of going, this is by myself, I'm super empowered now. Why did you decide to go with your friend? What makes you say,
Yeah, well, I would have gone alone, like I said, but her and I were already planning a big international trip together. So, because I think we were going to go like for a week or two to Australia is what we were planning. But then I just convinced her to switch the trip and make it longer.
And then you convinced
to
her to
Spain.
switch 1 week to Australia when a whole month of walking with just a backpack in Spain. How did it go?
Yeah. She's super athletic and super adventurous and lives her life very free. And so she just said yes immediately. She was like, great, that sounds great.
Okay.
If you feel like we should do that, let's do it. She was the perfect person to do it with. And yeah, I think I would have been amazing by myself. It is different with a friend, but I would never not have, if I could go back and have her not be there, I wouldn't pick that because it was so special to do it together. It was challenging, but it was really, really, I love her so much. So it is different though with a person because I think you meet more people when you're alone because you're more approachable. And we did make some really awesome friends, but it was more about her and I.
That's why I said, there's always different, reasons, and there's always different come outs. If you go with your partner, it's going to be amazing. If you go by yourself, it's different. But I guess going with someone that you've been, traveling, that you have so much in common also, it's also, I would right now that the bond that it's been with her and you, and like this might be amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's one of my best friends.
And
I just talked to her the other day.
Which Camino did you decide to walk? Why?
I did
the one that you decide to walk. I'm like, why? A lot of people, when you are over there, it's like everybody walks the same Camino. I don't know why. There is 1,000 Caminos. Why this Camino?
I picked the French way just because it seemed like the most classic, the most popular. And I wanted to do the classic. Like, it seemed like the one you should do first. And then if I were to do it again, maybe try something a little more off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And you mentioned The Way, the movie, and I had never heard of that movie. But when I was talking to Bella, deciding that I should do the Camino, then she told me to watch it. So I watched it after I was already committed to going, and I watched it like 4 times. It's so good. It's my favorite kind of movie. I love movies about physical, like journeys of self-discovery,
Mhm.
that where you're like physically going somewhere and discovering. I love movies like that.
No,
So
I'll give you. There's a great one about the one. It's called Phil's Camino. It's about this
oh,
dude in the US. He had cancer, and he decided to walk the Camino. He was on the 60, 70, like oldish, and then his family told him not to. I'm like, no, there's no way you're walking the Camino. You have cancer. You're still recovering medication and everything, blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna walk it. So he created a path all around his house. He has a bigger house in the US, not like here in Spain. Better, and he will walk every day each stage of the Camino Frances, and he will be doing like the stamp, but just signing in a book. And he finished the
oh
whole
my
Camino
gosh.
that's doing laps around his house. It's an amazing movie. And then he went with another with a crew of people, and then they made this documentary of him walking the whole Camino.
Oh wow,
Yeah, it's not so well
that's so
known,
fun.
but there's a couple of good movies about the Camino, about physical, and I think that's also one of the parts, that the Camino is also, it's a physical, it's a spiritual, it's fun. It has a little bit of everything. That's what I think, is getting much more appealing to everyone right now.
Yeah, like I said, my favorite movie is movies about physical journeys of
Mhm.
self-discovery, and I feel like I just wanted to have my own. Yeah, so we left in August, or no, excuse me, October, the
Why
very beginning of
October?
October.
Why was October? What was the time October instead of just going,
Um,
right away August?
Just logistically, I was ready to go immediately, but Kayla she does seasonal jobs. She was working at a ranch, so she wasn't done working until then.
Mhm.
Because she does it was a summer thing, so
How
she
easy is
couldn't go.
once you are, a lot of people ask us, every time, how easy is to get from the US? How easy is to travel to, to Saint John? Did you find it
It
difficult or?
was it was a little difficult to figure out. I had to read a lot of forums to figure out how to get there. But once I figured out, it wasn't difficult. We both flew into Barcelona, which made it a little more complicated, but it was really cheap to fly to
Okay.
Barcelona from America. I think it was about $500 USD.
Wow.
But I used credit card points, so it
It's
was
cheaper
free.
for you than it's for me. And like probably if I want to travel from Pamplona to Barcelona, it's maybe 600 euros. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh wow. That's a lot more. Yeah. So I was able to use credit card points, so I didn't have to really. Well, I mean, it's my money at some point, but
Yeah.
it felt free.
Yeah, that's the beauty.
So that was nice. Yeah, and then she flew there too. She flew because she lives in Seattle, so we met in Barcelona. She actually got her flight canceled and got stuck in Sweden or something.
Oh.
And it's actually funny because she's really tall and blonde. I think she actually is 100% Norwegian, but she's
Yeah,
completely
you can tell,
American.
like the day I
Yeah.
met you both, I'm like, I will probably, if you told me she was from Swedish or Norwegian or any way around, I'm like,
Yeah.
I will bet my money on it.
Yeah, she looks like a local Scandinavian person, but she's not. Well, she's American. But she got stuck there, and she said everybody just kept talking to her in Swedish. And she was like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying."
The only Swedish I know are the little fish.
So so the beginning of our trip was rocky because I ended up being in Barcelona all by myself for a day, which was totally fine. But we didn't know, like, are you going to make it on time for our train?
Yeah.
We took a train to Pamplona. Are you going to make it? Should I go without you? What are we going to do? And she took a risk and got on this earlier flight the next morning, and she met me at the train station like just on time, about 20
Wow.
minutes early. And it was very exciting. So we took a train to Pamplona and then a bus about 30 minutes later to Saint Jean.
So great.
And when we got to Saint Jean,
but question before you get to Saint Jean, why Saint Jean? Another thing people ask us, people always start or Roncesvalles or Saint Jean. Saint Jean people, sometimes if you do the research, people are scared because it's steep. You have to get to Saint Jean. It's harder maybe. Why you decided to do Saint Jean? Did you do any research or it was just, where it starts?
Yeah, that seemed like the beginning. I wanted to start there. It also sounded fun to walk from one country to the other, even if it was for a day. I also remember talking to Kayla and I said, hey, it's going to take us about 35-ish days, but we don't have to do the whole thing. Like, we could do part of it. And she said, oh, no, we're going to, of course, do the whole thing. Are you kidding me? So, I said, okay. So we wanted to start at the beginning.
Yeah, I did the same. I think it's, one of the things that is totally worth it. Even, if you're not in a super nice condition, physically, it is worth to start in Saint Jean, to start the day suffering with the views once you get to the top. And I don't know, it feels different. I think it changed the whole mood of just getting for the following up days.
Yeah, and Saint Jean is gorgeous. It's like medieval looking, and it's so pretty. It's very different looking than Roncesvalles.
Totally.
And we got there only at like 7:00 at night, so I didn't really get to see it that much. So I wish that we had been there all day. It was so pretty. But when we got there on the bus, the pilgrim experience started immediately because we didn't know how to get to our hostel that we had booked, or our albergue. And we had booked this awesome albergue that I found on some random forum that was like, stay here. And we got off the bus and we just didn't know where we were going. So we just started following people. And this random guy was like, do you need help? I said, absolutely. We're trying to get here. I just showed him on the map where we were going. And he said, yes, I will help you. I just walked the Camino. Like him and this girl were walking together. And they said, we finished the Camino. We decided to come back to the start just to meet up with some friends.
Wow.
And so they like escorted us to the albergue. So I immediately felt like the pilgrim camaraderie the second I got there. And I thought, this is going to be great. I love this already. And they were both already just so excited. And I felt like that energy that I had expected had started immediately. And then we got to our albergue and you could smell dinner. And the man that ran the albergue saw me outside and said, are you Julia? Great. We were waiting for you. We had dinner. We're going to play games.
Come on.
It was like the experience started immediately and it was so beautiful. I think where we started was called Bellari or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. You heard of it?
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's one of, I'm like, there's so many albergues in Saint-Jean, but I know that a couple of them are, it depends always on the person who runs them. At the end, that's the whole, because at the end, the first day, if you have a bed and you have a nice group of pilgrims, for me, it was similar to what you guys described. I arrived, but I was by myself. I just walk in Saint-Jean by myself. I have dinner by myself. There wasn't many people the day I started. So till the next morning, I didn't feel the whole pilgrim. So I'm kind of like jealous right now of you. I'm like having that such a great experience from day one. But that's it. The Camino provides. So.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was so happy because I was just so excited to get there and for the whole thing to start and to have it start like immediately like that. And he had us, the one thing though that was hard is I was really hungry and he had us kind of play get to know you games for about 30 minutes before he fed us. And I was like, can we please eat something?
I am American. It's 8:00. I want my dinner.
I was so hungry. Yeah, I had been traveling all day.
Yeah.
And not really eating anything. So, but it was fun. Everyone was from all over, mostly Europe, a couple of Americans. Actually, no, they weren't American. They were English.
What kind of a lot of people ask us, in the summer you see probably a younger crowd. What was the average age of the people that you met during your Camino? Or what kind of people did you met? In the summer we have the students from Spain, Italy, the US, teachers, a lot of teachers. But I guess in October probably, it changes a lot, the kind of like crowd that walks with you.
Yeah. There actually were not a lot of people in general. I mean, that's the only time I've ever gone, but from what I've read, it seemed like there were a lot less people, especially toward the end when it got to be November. Yeah. We sometimes had albergues to ourselves, which was different and sometimes nice. But I feel like people were actually a bit older, but we tend to befriend people in their 20s and 30s. So there weren't a lot of people.
I guess you have to come back for the summer.
Yeah.
Sorry, now you have signed
2021.
2021, the Sacobeo, the whole year.
Nice.
Yeah. You don't know the story about the Sacobeo?
No.
So the Sacobeo, once Sacobeo for the Santiago is when Santiago falls in a Sunday. Uh-huh. So then that year there is a special door in every church, cathedral in Spain. There is a special door. It's called the Holy Door. So it only opens for Sacobian. Sacobian is the one from Santiago, but there's like holy years for different saints or for different churches. Wow. And that year, if you do a pilgrimage, you pray for the Pope intentions, you pray for whatever, there's a couple of things that you have to do, and you go under that door, all your sins get clear. Oh. So it's kind of like a tradition. And the big thing next year is the Sacobeo is going to be big because last one was 11 years ago.
Oh, that's very exciting.
So supposedly, now with this whole situation, things are going to change. But if everything goes well, it's going to be a beautiful year to be in Santiago. For sure, the summer is going to be crazy. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a beautiful year because everybody's going to be walking,
Yeah, well, everyone who was going to go this year is postponing.
I
I
guess.
haven't even said this yet, but
Yeah.
I make YouTube videos and I filmed the whole Camino. And people are commenting. I ended up making like 27 YouTube videos, which was so
Yeah, I would
funny.
recommend
They were really
everyone to watch because they are different. They're fun. You talk about everything, and it's always nice to
Yeah.
see someone different point of view. Even though there's so many people right now talking about the Camino, but I guess your videos they have something different. I really like them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they're really short. They're about 4 or 5 minutes, and there's one from almost every day. And people are commenting on this is why I'm bringing this up is because I'm getting a lot of comments about people. They're so heartbroken because they've been watching my videos planning their trip, and now they can't
So it's your
go.
fault.
It is not my fault.
Your fault that they want to go in the Camino.
Oh, I guess so. Unless they were just looking for Camino videos.
I guess. Then again, it's still your fault. So, but it's a good fault.
Okay. Oh, I will take it.
So then you start the Camino with one of your best friends, and how's it going? Like, what is your first feeling? The Camino. Was there something that you fall right away in love with, or was something that was growing into you as days went by?
Yeah, to start, I was so happy. Kayla has a picture of me the first night, and I'm like in my bed with my sheets pulled up, and I'm just like a giant smile on my face. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't even sleep. I was so excited. It was like the first day of school, if you like school. I was so pumped. And the first day was the hardest day passing over that mountain, and it was a little bit rainy. That was probably the most difficult day other than the days where my knee didn't work. But I was just so on cloud nine. The immediate feeling I had in the beginning, I was just so overwhelmed with gratitude to be there because it took a lot. Like it took a lot of graciousness from my job, and I had to, figure out all these logistics and like do a lot of work to get there. And so I was just so grateful to just be there. And that feeling was like the main feeling I had for the first week or so.
So what was the best part for?
But what the thing I liked?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say the thing I loved about the Camino was I just loved all of the. I love organized activities, and just so many little cute aspects to the Camino that made it interesting and different. Like the fact that you have your credentials and you get stamps, and that everyone wears a shell, and that everyone says one Camino. There were so many different cute aspects to it that made it special that I really appreciated, and I love that.
What was the top best thing, for you? Like, I mean, for the situation that you were coming in the year, I guess in the Camino we always say that there's 3 stages. The beginning when you start, then there's the meseta, the loneliness, the time of reflection, and then once you start getting to Santiago, it's the time of happiness, the time of reaching, the time of being born again. How was the stages for you? Like, how did you feel your Camino? Right now there's even doing some research to see how the pilgrims start the Camino, how they finish. To be in that research, you have to walk more than 50 days. They consider that less than 15 days doesn't give you time to go through all the stages that a pilgrim goes through. How was the Camino for you? Did you, recognize yourself in different stages, or was something like a big curve growing? How did it go, the Camino?
Yeah, to start, because things didn't get physically difficult until like a week in when my knee stopped working. So that first week was just so exciting, so thrilling, so overwhelmed with happiness and appreciation to be there. And then things started to get really difficult. And I felt like I remember the first week I felt so sad. I had walked about 100 kilometers. Was it, or 100 miles? 100 miles.
Probably.
I don't remember.
If you do 20, usually it's 20 something K a day if you were following the stages. So 1 week you were on 140 K. So yeah, about 100 miles.
Okay, so yeah, because I was thinking about it in miles the entire time, because it's about
the Camino's in
500
kilometers.
Yeah, sorry. Well, we would, to me it's like it was 500 miles, so 5 weeks, so that makes sense. So I had walked about 100 miles in a week, which is a lot more than I've ever walked, and but my knee was not working, and I was feeling so sorry for myself and so upset, like, wow, maybe I can't do this, maybe this isn't gonna work out, maybe I'm not strong. And my brother, who's a huge hiker, my brother's walked the Pacific Crest Trail, and he's walked all of New Zealand, and he's a big hiker. And he messaged me and said, "Hey, how does it feel that you've walked 100 miles? Like, what do you feel?" And I thought, oh, I don't feel anything. I'm pissed. Like, I feel like a weak person. My knee hurts. He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, you have accomplished something incredible." And I thought, oh yeah, you're right. Wow. I was feeling sorry for myself and not recognizing like the incredible thing that I just achieved. And that really changed my perspective and helped me overcome a lot of the mental that comes with your knee hurting. And I just pushed through, and I felt like I discovered a strength within myself that I just didn't know. I wasn't sure if I had it, and it was like a lot of grit. And so that was a cool journey just to learn how strong I was. And I had to rely a lot on the Lord, because I was constantly just like, I don't know if my knee is going to work today. I don't know if I'm going to get through. And so I found like the real strength was the strength of the Holy Spirit inside of me, like pushing me. So that was just really, really empowering to like overcome a lot of physical pain and do something. And then I also experienced so much inner healing, like with the heartbreak that I had that year. I feel like that was the final stage of getting over it. Like I had a lot of beautiful, when you walk the Camino, you can be alone all day if you want. And even though I was with Kayla, like she walks faster than me, so she would usually be ahead of me, or she'd want to go a different way. Sometimes you can go different ways. And so there was one day and there were a lot of days where I would think about the pain I went through in the year I'd been through. And there was one final day where I had this amazing breakthrough where I just, I saw the guy that I thought I was going to marry. And all of a sudden felt like the Lord was like, I can redeem the feelings that you have. You feel mad, angry, frustrated, sad, but from now on, I want you to, like, when you think about him, just think gratefulness, happiness, like positivity. Like that's something that's in the past that you're grateful for. And like, that's the feeling I want you to have moving forward. And I felt like in my mind, I saw him kind of walk away from me, like wave goodbye and like leave peacefully from my life. And his memory is no longer like a painful, angry thing for me. It's like, it's been redeemed. And now when I think about him, I think, oh, I hope that he's doing well. I'm grateful he was in my life. He's not anymore. And I've become more of the person I want to be now that he's not in my life. And so that was like deep inner healing for me, kind of like around week 2.
When did it happen? Do you know
really
the stage? We always have those stages that we all remember. And like one of the things I think, will be a good thing for research is if things, we have these moments that we go through always on the same stages because of the way of the healing, or the way of people processing. Do you know the stage or where?
I think it was either the end of the first week or the beginning of the second. So I'm not exactly sure. I could
so there
go
can be Logroño,
look at my videos and figure it out.
Logroño, probably around that. Logroño, La Rioja.
I think maybe right before that, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's just, something that, I don't know. I was wondering. And,
yeah.
What is it?
That's
cool. A lot of things, and you said before, like when you walk with a friend, you don't walk with him all the time. Sometimes you will go ahead, you will take different paths. A lot of people ask us, and I think doing the Camino with a group of friends is great. If you have that kind of like relationship with, they can go away, you can even maybe see each other for one day or maybe even 2 days, I don't know. But how was the relationship of walking with someone, to go to another group, to open up? And also in the time you walk, it's different because there's less people on the Camino, as you say before. But how's the day? How are your days walking? Do you wake up together, start walking together, finish together?
Yeah, we would discuss each night. There was less freedom of where to go because we were together. So we discussed each night, what do we want to like maybe do tomorrow? We were following the suggested route kind of closely at the beginning and then kind of adapting it for our own desires and needs as we went. But we would kind of like, what do we want to shoot for tomorrow? When do we want to wake up? We both never wanted to wake up ever. We would like usually be the last people leaving the albergue almost consistently every single day.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, for the people that don't know, I met these 2 ladies on Pamplona on a normal day around, I think it was 11 in the morning, and you were just start going walking. I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, this is a late start.
Yeah, that was a particularly hard day for us.
And you were starting really so late. Of course, you were having a breakfast. We were going to have a breakfast and to a supermarket till like 11 a.m.
Yeah, we didn't normally leave that late, but I don't think we walked that far that day. And we walked kind of fast.
That's one of the things that doing the Camino in October allows you to take that pleasure of waking up whenever you want, just taking it so easy because there's no rush. The weather is going to be always the same. If it's raining, it's sunny, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be crazy. So that's one of the beauties, when people ask, what is the time to walk the Camino? I'm like, anything has the pros and cons. But
yeah, the biggest benefit was that we didn't have to worry about beds because we could leave later, and there was really only 1 or 2 days where we couldn't find a bed and had to keep walking, and it wasn't a problem either time. So we didn't feel uncomfortable leaving really late because we both just wanted to sleep. Even though we would go to bed at like 9, we just would sleep for like 12 hours. We were
Why
so
not?
tired.
If you have the time and do it, why not? That's the whole,
Yeah.
thing. It's your vacation. It was your first month off. So yeah.
Yeah. And I actually got to a place where I was sleeping so much that I didn't really need coffee as much, which is huge for me. So because I love to use coffee as an opportunity to take a break. So we wouldn't really have coffee until like 3 miles in, if there was an opportunity. So that was always really fun, and it was cool to like be that well rested all the time.
And what
yeah,
is
we would discuss.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just answering your question is, yeah, we would discuss the night before and then walk together. And then sometimes if it was raining, she would definitely leave me because she's like, I'm just going to like run. Or she would just end up ahead of me and we would meet up together like in a town. But there were some days where the trail would go different ways and she would usually go the harder way and I would not. There was 1 or 2 days though, where we were totally separate. There was one day I actually drove ahead because I wanted to take a rest for my knee. So I went to Lyon earlier than her and spent the night there by myself. So we were apart for a couple days. And then that next day, she didn't want to leave Lyon yet. So I left without her. So we were apart another couple days. So we're really good friends and we're both really independent and capable. So we didn't have any problem like separating when we did. But then when we got back together, it was fun.
So what was
and it was nice to like spend some days just talking
of doing the Camino with one of your really good friends? What was the best thing?
Oh, I actually told her this on the Camino. I said, the best part about you being here is that you're my friend forever. And I'm always going to be able to get back together with you and talk about these special memories that we share. Whereas other people that I met some amazing people on the Camino, but I probably won't see them again, maybe, hopefully. But they're like memories. They're people like memories from the past, whereas she will be in my life forever. And I'm always going to have shared this like really special thing with her. And I felt that in the moment that was special.
Did your relationship change, or it was just, it was great and then it went better, or did you feel like it was something, different after the Camino? But I guess for you, you've already been traveling a whole year, so it wasn't, I don't know.
I don't think it changed that much. It was tested a little bit because it was physically challenging and we were like really emotionally tested toward the end because it was so cold and so rainy. It rained for like 10 days toward the end.
Galicia.
So we were kind of going insane. Yeah.
That's the beauty. You start in the summer.
No, I love her just as much.
That's incredible. And the moment I met you, you can see, there was some kind of like, there was some special, you can feel that in people when they walk, that there's something special right there. So
yeah, and we met some other incredible friends.
What was the best parts of? Let me see. I don't know why I'm hearing myself weird. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the best part for you in the Camino? The best, the top albergue, the top place, the top moment. What would be your top 3 things?
The best thing about the Camino was the people, and I know that everyone says that, but they should say that. I just loved meeting people along the way, especially the best friend we made was someone, her name is also Julia, but it's pronounced Julia. She's Italian, German. I just loved the openness and the camaraderie of the people that you would meet. And I loved how open-minded everybody was, and we were able to just share our hearts so easily. Because for me, like, I love Jesus, and the first question everybody asks you on the Camino is, why are you on the Camino? Yeah. Why are you here? And I would just say, I was looking for a quick answer because I have a long story. So I just started saying, I just felt really empowered by the Holy Spirit to come. And that phrase just opened up so many cool conversations where people would be like, wow, like, tell me all about that. What does that mean for you? Or, oh, I'm also a Christian. Let me tell you about what I'm doing. And sometimes people were in a lot of pain and they would hear me say that I love Jesus, and they would come to me like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in this large amount of pain. Like, can you help? Can you pray with me? Can you tell me what you think about this? Like, how does God see my pain? Like, so I was able to have a lot of really cool conversations where people would ask me, like, how do you see God? Or what do you think? How did you meet Jesus? And for me, like, I think that knowing Jesus gives you so much freedom, and you can experience like real unconditional love and real freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love sharing with people my experience and how Jesus has brought those things to my life. And to be on the Camino, people just ask you. So you get to talk about your heart all day long, and I love talking about Jesus. And so people would just ask me, like, how did you meet him? What do you think about him? And it was just so cool, like all to hear people's hearts and hear what they think, and offer people like hope when they were in pain or different perspectives. And I just love listening to other people too. And that was my favorite part. Some of the best memories I have are just sharing my faith with
I know it's incredible, how people...
But it was just, yeah.
Yeah, how people open up in the Camino. We tell people right away our deepest feelings or deepest motivation without knowing them. And people feel so truly, connected. There's no need of just, as you say, I don't care if I'm a Christian, Catholic, whatever, I will explain, and people are so welcoming, so open, so willing to share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, people don't go on the Camino for exercise. Like they go on there for their mind and their heart. And so it was just cool that people would actually ask me. It wasn't like hey, can I tell you about my faith? It was people they were just asking me. And it was just a natural, authentic thing each day, building friendships. So that was my favorite part.
And, I always, I haven't talked to anyone, usually, the faith in the Camino, some people keep it closer for themselves, but you are, as we can say, how has it been, Christian in the Camino? I'm Catholic, so the Camino, in Spain, we are more Catholic. People will maybe ask, how are you going to live your faith if you are from a different, belief or point of view? How was the Camino for you? Did you feel welcome? Was something, really open? Do you think that the Camino is for any kind of spiritual people, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think in America, people don't really want to hear about your faith, especially now. Like it's becoming more and more.
Don't come to Spain. Here it's even worse.
Like if people know, it's becoming more and more post-Christian in America. So people don't really, they like roll their eyes at you, or they just I think people have a lot of past hurts from the church, maybe. So if they find out that that you love Jesus, they immediately don't really like want to talk to you because there's a lot of pain stirring up in them for whatever reason or thing they've experienced. So I experienced that a little bit on the Camino. Like people would ask how Kayla and I met, and we would say, oh, we were missionaries for a year, and people would sometimes would shut down, like, oh, what does
what does missionary mean?
Like, and sometimes people would, oh, it means that we would travel around to different countries sharing.
I know, but I'm like, people don't know. I'm like, if you are no...
Oh, yeah, I thought you were asking.
Not, I'm like, what does it mean? I'm like, missionary. Are you going your whole life to Africa
Yeah, so people would sometimes, especially if they were American, would sometimes shut down and be like, oh, I don't really want to talk to you if you're a Christian. But a lot of times not. Like I just said, like a lot of times people would be so excited and want to then ask me a lot of questions. So I would say if they were American, it was one experience, but there was one American friend that I made that was so open. She actually asked all of us. We had another friend, Lindy Jo, that came for a week, and she also did the world race with us. And she met us and just asked all of us to share our testimonies, like the stories of how we, found our faith. And she just wanted to know. So she was super, and like we didn't ask her if we could tell her. She just asked all of us. So tell me the story of how you guys found your faith. That was cool. So she was open. So it was like a mixed bag. But Kayla and I are both very vulnerable with our faith and our lives. And like, obviously we've been missionaries, so we're used to just sharing our hearts, even if it's not received super well. So we would just try and be bold and say whatever was on our hearts. And then, sometimes people were into it. Sometimes they were uncomfortable.
I guess that's life, and that's the Camino. That's the beauty of the Camino. Sometimes you walk with someone that you want to be walking a whole Camino, and then sometimes you just want to go fast to just get the hell out of there. But that's the beauty of the Camino. It allows you to play freely with all of that. Also, a lot of things that people ask is, how, being from the US, you travel all over the world. How safe did you feel when you were walking the Camino? Being nowadays traveling as a single woman, with another friend, even though a lot of people have questions, how safe is to travel to Spain? How safe is the Camino? I always say that I think it's the safest place in the world to be as a single woman traveling. But you, after you've been traveling all over
Mhm.
South America and Central America, how did you feel compared to your other experience?
Yeah, I felt super safe. We would even leave our backpacks outside of restaurants if we wanted to go in. And I never once worried, maybe in the beginning, because I saw other people doing it and I thought, oh, are we going to get our bags stolen? That happens in the way. He gets his bag stolen. And so, but after one time doing it, like I didn't feel nervous about anything ever being stolen from me at the albergue. I never felt nervous about getting like inappropriately spoken to or anything. So yeah, I felt super safe. The only time I felt unsafe was when the Camino would pass over like an interstate or a highway, because sometimes you had to cross a really big road, and I would have like AirPods in listening to music, and so I was like, I need to be really vigilant that I don't get hit by a car. So that was my only concern. It's sometimes like crossing a busy road, but I never felt nervous that another person was going to hurt me or steal anything from me. Ever.
Yeah, that's great. I agree 100% with you. And so how was, once you go through so much stuff in your life, that year you went so many, that was a whole roller coaster, and suddenly you're getting to Santiago. How was the feeling of getting to Santiago and arriving to Santiago?
Gosh. So we did the whole thing where you sleep at Montegozo?
Yep.
We slept there, so we were only 2 kilometers.
Yeah, like super close. Yeah, I think it's 2 kilometers, 2.5. super close. Yeah.
The miles and the kilometers were always going back and forth in my head, so I don't remember. But we were very close, 30 minutes walking maybe, from the end, and we wanted to do it that way because we wanted to have so much time to like enjoy the last day. So we were so excited, especially because the day before Kayla got a little bit lost. Like we got separated and she didn't know where I was. And she ended up having to like walk backwards and looking for me. And so the day before was kind of hard for her. And she didn't get back.
I love that you say for her. After dark. No, for me, for her.
Yeah, well, for me, it was fine because I was just walking. I didn't know she was looking for me. So that was not good. So the next day we were really excited and we kept playing that song. There's this famous song by, I forget who sings it, but it's, I would walk 500 miles. Because again, for us, it's about miles and it's like a 500-mile experience. So we were about to have finished walking 500 miles. So we were playing it. We did this like dance video where we danced with our backpacks and we were like, we walked 500 miles. So we were so pumped, just like I just couldn't believe like the feeling of like, wow, we actually did it. I just wasn't sure if I would actually make it. I feel like I limped all the way there. And yeah, I just felt so overwhelmed with gratitude and awe that we got there. And when we finally made it there, I started crying.
Of course,
I was so happy. And then the best part was everyone that we had, because you see the same people every day, especially when you get about a weekend, you get on the same like pace, the people that are walking about the same pace as you. So you start seeing them, not just every day, but all day, every day. Like everyone seems to stop at the same place for a coffee break and for lunch. And you just like see ponchos out in backpacks outside of a restaurant and everyone stops there. So we saw the same people all day, every day. And a lot of them we had befriended and they were all just trickling in to the Camino, like, and we would be like running to each other and screaming and yelling and everyone's like crying and taking pictures. And it was just so crazy. It's like, we did it. All of us, you did it. I did it. She did it. We did it. And it was so exciting. Yeah. And we kept coming back to the cathedral and I just sort of sat there and watched people come in and it was just so exciting. And our friend, Julia, she had made it a couple days before us. So she waited for us and like hugging her was like the best part. Just feeling like we all did it together.
That's one of the things that I tell everyone, if you have the time, if you're not going to go right away, to Muxia or to Fisterra, stay for a couple of days, just watching, pilgrims come in and watching their faces, and also because you see all that people that you walk with them, and it's just like reviving again when you've arrived. It's one of those experiences that is amazing.
Yeah, it was so exciting. There's one couple that I loved. They were a little bit older and their names were Phil and Sally. They're married. And they had I don't think they retired, but they like all their kids went off to college. So they were walking and I just saw them every day and kind of annoyed them until they became my friend. Like, I just would talk to them every day, like, hey guys. Hi. So they became our friends. And when they came into the the cathedral area, I was just like, Phil and Sally, hi! And ran up to them, and they were with another woman that we really liked. And he messaged me later, a couple weeks later, and was just like, having you jumping and screaming with Kayla to greet us when we made it to the end was something I'll never forget. And I thought that I was kind of being annoying, like stealing his moment from him. But he said, no, that made the moment special, like to have friends kind of cheering us on when we got there. So that was really cool. And then at the end, we all went to this, you might know the name of the restaurant. It's the Pilgrim. It's a pilgrim dinner restaurant where everyone seems to go for dinner.
There's like 5 of them in Santiago. It depends, which one.
Okay.
There's like a couple. The one that you go down the stairs?
Yeah, I think. There was one that Julia wanted to go to it.
Okay.
And we went, it was because you have the pilgrim meals that are like €10 and you have all the things included and you can pick what you want. And we thought, it would be great to have one last pilgrim dinner, but I wasn't expecting that every single person in the restaurant I would know. I either recognized or knew all of them. And we came in and there was a big table of people and they said, hey, pull up another table, sit with us. So we were at this big table of like 4, 5, 6, 7 different tables pushed together. And it was just the perfect way to end it, like in a restaurant full of people we knew. And everybody, it was almost like a private party, except not, because everybody knew each other. So everyone was like standing up, talking all over the place. And I have a video of that. And that was my final video. Or it's just the perfect ending to be with everybody celebrating with like one last pilgrim dinner. So that was really cool.
So how was, the Julia that left the US and the Julia that came back after that? What changed?
I think just discovering strength and realizing that strength is inside of me because I believe Jesus lives inside of me, and that's like the source of my strength. So I just felt very, very empowered and very strong, and just super grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I guess that's it. The only thing I can think to finish is like, there's so many people that is in your situation that goes through bad things happen in life, and I guess always. So I always say the Camino provides, even when you are not in the Camino, because that first thing that happened to you, that breakup, was something that led you where you are now. With a new life, new boyfriend, new things going on, great projects. So I guess everything happens. I believe that really things happen for a reason. If you're a person of faith, you can call it faith. If you're a person that doesn't believe in faith, you can call it whatever. But the Camino, teach you that the Camino provides, life provides, and in your case, it did provide. So what will you take? Tell to everyone that is listening to us and is kind of like in a bad situation, and it's maybe the moment that you find that you were like I'm done, I'm out of here, I'm gonna walk, I don't care what's happened, I'm quitting my job. What will you tell to the people that needs that little push, that little push of fate or whatever that you want to call it? But what will you tell them?
I think that you can make whatever choices you want in your life. If you find that you're unhappy, like, you have the authority and the power in your own life to decide what you're going to do about it. And you can do whatever you want. If you feel like you can't leave a job, why not? Like, you can do whatever you want. For me, I think for people of faith that are lived most of their lives in faith, they feel like maybe I can't do something if it's not like the specific will of God or the specific calling God has for me. But I think that God is always empowering us to empower ourselves, and that I felt like he was telling me to just go for it, and it's because he wanted me to experience that empowerment. And so I think a lot of different things that we can step out and risk and try. I think God is right there with us, like cheering us on. And you say the Camino provides, and my perspective is like, I think God provides, like, via the Camino. I think that the Camino is a gift that God has for people. And so I think when you like step out and take risks, that God's right there with you, like cheering you on.
Yeah, totally. I think you just have to do that little step, and he will do the rest. Anyway, thank you so much for being with us. I would love to invite anyone to invite them to follow your YouTube, because you are an amazing YouTube.
Yes.
And you create totally different content, and the Camino, it's great. But also invite them to follow your podcast. Now you are also on the podcaster wall with the Brave Story podcast.
And yeah, my YouTube channel is called Julia Robertson. That's my name. You can look it up on YouTube. And then my podcast is called Brave Story. So entries and candid conversations about living a fearless, honest, and meaningful life. And Jose should already be on it.
Yeah, I know. We have so much in common, because at the end, the whole people, when they ask me, like, what is the Camino people? Stories about people, and people that decided to take a leap of faith and walk the Camino, and always people change with the Camino. And I think, listening to people's stories about how they convert themselves it's incredible, because it can, I think we can do so much great change lives just with what we do. So why not keep doing it? And now more than ever, as I always say, it's the time that we need, those amazing stories of bravery and, people committed to change their lives and to take power. I don't give and open the Camino to anyone, because it's there for everyone. A lot of people ask, but the Camino is something for just Catholics. It's something just for religion. I'm like, no, it's there for everyone. Whatever you need, you will find it there or not. The Camino will provide. And, you maybe find something that you don't need, but we'll see. You just have to take the first step, and as you did, buy those flights in which way and go to St. John and...
Yeah, buy the flight.
Yeah. And I guess, that's the whole thing. A lot of people, they overthink the Camino, and almost everyone that I talk lately, their Camino decision is made in 48 or 1 week. It's one of those, I feel I need to walk the Camino. Let's do it. So I guess we just invite everyone to go and do it. Walk the Camino when you can. For now, stay at home, remember.
Yes, when it's legal. Everyone will be out there.
Anyway, Julia, thank you so much. As we always say in the Camino, we pray and buen camino, and we hope to see you soon, walking the Camino, or here, or anywhere else. But hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening one more time to El Camino People, the podcast. Please stay tuned for more information about the opening of the Camino. For now, things are, the Camino is closed here in Spain, but we are being able to go for little walks, and it seems like probably by the end of June, maybe July, we'll be able to move in our community, and maybe by the end of August, we will be allowed to travel from one state to the other. So stay tuned for more information. Please rate us on Spotify, on iTunes, and visit our Instagram and our website. Thanks a lot. Buen camino, Ultrella.